Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Home and Away, a podcast devoted to all things in and around the world of sporting Kansas City soccer. I am Drew Vanderploeg, joined once again, as always, by my good friend Cody Welton. This week on the podcast, just because Sporting Kansas City isn't playing soccer anymore this year doesn't mean there aren't plenty of storylines to cover in and around the Sporting Kansas City soccer world while we wait for news about the new manager or player acquisitions. The Kansas City Current, unfortunately, have joined Sporting Kansas City, starting their offseason much earlier than expected after a crushing loss in added extra time against Gotham FC on Sunday. The Current picked up some pretty noteworthy injuries at the end of the season, and as well as leading into this game, which severely hampered their attack and has many asking questions about Vlatko Andonovski's decision-making, both surrounding the management of said players, as well as his tactical plan in the game given their absence. The first round of the MLS Playoffs are complete, and it was a typically chaotic, yet extremely entertaining round of matches, with numerous storylines across all of the matchups, even those that weren't nearly as competitive as the others. The U.S. men's national team gets ready for a couple friendlies against the Guys, with a less than first-choice group of players. Between injuries, club managers' complaints, and Mauricio Pochettino's idiosyncratic ways, we've got quite the unique group of players in this camp, which has the purveyors of this podcast wondering if there's anything useful to take from these matches at all, other than satiating the desire of the Gio Reyna Truther Brigade, and whether taking something substantive away from these matches is even something that matters at this point or not. Just before we started recording, the news dropped that the MLS Board of Governors reportedly is ready to vote on changing the MLS schedule to a fall spring setup to align with their European counterparts. And boy, nothing gets MLS fans whipped up into a fervor quite like schedule talk. There were also some tidbits about an adjustment to the competitive structure of the league, which created even more intrigue on both the home and away and other MLS discords, setting them alight with commentary and interaction. So we'll have our takes to process there. So in other words, there's plenty for the two of us to discuss this week after a brief hiatus. We do have other items we can cover as needed. A discussion around tactical setups and game models and how we'd like to see Sporting Kansas City go about this process in the offseason. But depending on how tonight's discussion goes, we may leave some of those in the chamber for another week so we can keep churning out useful content for you all this week, next week, and all throughout the offseason. So we'll see how it goes. We may leave some stuff on the table for you in upcoming episodes. So let's start with the aforementioned Kansas City Current, given they were the only pro soccer team in Kansas City actually playing meaningful matches this weekend. We knew that Temwa was unlikely to play in this one, but 24 hours before the game, we also found out that Michelle Cooper was out for this match. Bia was off the injury list, but that was a bit misleading, as we will get to in a moment. So there were certainly concerns about the Current's ability to effectively create goal-scoring chances, but I'm not sure either of us was ready for how much they would struggle. And I don't think it was all down to available talent on the field. The tactical setup was extremely conservative. It seemed ill-equipped to take advantage of the attacking players they did have on the pitch. So, Cody, what were your thoughts on how the Current, and more specifically Vlatko, went about their business on Sunday?
Well, I watched. I did have to work, and so I did not watch the extra time. So I got to watch a good 90 minutes, and I was just surprised by how pedestrian they looked, honestly, like how utterly like normal and boring they looked. And I think it's I don't know, in some ways it's similar to how I have felt watching like Liverpool play a lot of this season, where you know that there are good players, but they don't look like they're interacting with one another the way that they need to.
Davinia had a very Mo Salah-ish game in this one.
The balance just did not appear there, and I thought that for the most part the central midfielders, Labonta and Hutton, I thought they played okay, but almost every other player I thought had a less than stellar game, and I hadn't heard. Was Cooper just a surprise to everybody because I hadn't heard any rumblings at all of her being out, and Prince just wasn't it, right? Like between Prince on one side and Dabinia on the other. I mean, there was it was, and we you've talked in the past about Sentnor's sort of limitations and maybe things in her game, holes in her game that needs to be worked on. But they didn't, there just did not seem to be any cutting edge at all in attack. And then when you compound that by playing a more conservative sort of style, at least, and especially the first half, it just like. I'm watching thinking like where are goals supposed to come from, right? Like is it just being a target forward and then somehow getting the ball to Setnor or Dabinia for something outside the box? That's kind of like what it seemed. It didn't seem there did not seem to be a lot of intention to play in behind, to even overlap with the fullbacks and get the fullbacks in behind. It just keep everything in front of you, and obviously it didn't work. And to go out like that, with a team that was so powerful and so intimidating in the regular season, and to just come out that sort of soft and easy to play against in the playoffs at home, it was really disappointing. And I mean, I don't know what else to say other than that. I mean, maybe the Death Star comparison was apt because they proved to be pretty fragile when it all mattered.
Yeah, I mean it's a fair point. I think their fragility was obviously driven by key injuries. I think it's notable that you bring up the disparity between Prince and Cooper, because you can see just how impactful Cooper is at stretching back lines.
Yeah.
Temwa obviously is as well, but Cooper is a very aggressive vertical wide player. Mm-hmm. And Prince just does not have that ability. It didn't seem like. Dabinia is not a winger, right? She's a central. She's like a 10/shadow striker playing as a winger.
Yep.
And she was really narrow in this game. And I really think that, and then again, you combine that with the very conservative defensive shape that the club, that Vlatko had them set up in. Very, normally, Izzy Rodriguez is fairly participative. She's fairly forward and wide and high in the attack. So in their 3-2-5 possession shape, Rodriguez is the high left side width. She was nowhere near that position in the first half of this game. In fact, they were almost in a back four in possession in a lot of cases. Maybe she'd kind of come up towards the midfield line, kind of in that U shape you often see, like with a back line with fullbacks, but she wasn't overlapping, nor was she participating much in the attack on the left side. So I to your point, I don't know. It was like a Sporting Kansas City game. It's like, I don't know where goals are meant to come from.
Yeah.
Like how they were meant to create an overload, how they are meant to trouble Gotham's back line, how they are meant to create any type of numerical advantage that would help them score. And Sentner hits an unbelievable shot in the first half that is a beautiful save by Ann-Katrin Berger to keep it out. Like, this thing's right in the upper 90 if Berger doesn't save it. It's a very nice save, but that was like the only time they threatened the goal in the first half of this match. And if 25-yard shots are the way that you're trying to score, like that, again, that feels very Sporting Kansas City-ish. And I want to get to one thing really quick while I'm discussing this. I also felt like Claire Hutton was put in a fucking terrible position, because with Rodriguez sitting as deep as she was and Dabinia being as narrow as she was, there was so much space on the right side of the current to play into. So you had Jaden Shaw and Midge Purse just like doubling up through that vacated space over and over. And Claire Hutton was just having to cover so much ground.
Yeah.
And for all of her capabilities, which are numerous, being a ground covering central midfielder is not really one of them.
Right.
She's not ever been very good at acceleration or top end speed. Like neither of those have really ever been her forte. She has an exceptional soccer mind for a 19-year-old and reads the game really well and steps into plays and steps into challenges. She times her actions very well, which allows her to be successful, as well as allows her to use those to then, manipulate play. But having to cover 20 yards of space by herself is not her forte at all.
Right.
And she was left over there to do that because Rodriguez was not helping and Debinha was super narrow. And Vlatko actually flipped that in the second half. You saw Labonta move to that side, and they pulled Rodriguez. Rodriguez's average position was probably 10 to 15 yards further forward, which really did help, solidify some of these problems. But it was just puzzling to me. Like, I didn't really understand. It looked like they were trying to play the exact same sort of deliver a long ball to a streaking winger thing that they do when Temwa and Kupar are in the game to players who are not capable of achieving that. And Deb got on the run with the ball in a couple circumstances, but she was very easily negated.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Prince had that good 1v1 versus the keeper and shot it right at the keeper.
Hit it straight
right?
to her. Yeah.
And that is, that's something that, if Cooper is in that position, that's probably a much better chance, right?
How is that thing not on the carpet at one of the posts? Like, I don't understand.
I mean, when you...
How do you hit it chest high straight at the keeper?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean... some players are backups for a reason, right? I mean,
But, we're talking about professional soccer players, man.
Yeah.
Like, this is shit you learn when you're 15.
Well, we've both been pretty positive about Sharples, and she didn't drape herself in glory on the goal for sure. And so,
but I don't think that's necessarily her fault. I think she's left to go over there and cover some space that has been, and to be fair,
but she was too aggressive though. Like if she's covering that space, she has to be less aggressive and know that if she goes to make that interception, that she has cover, and she didn't have cover, and so when she missed the interception, it was streaking on goal.
But she also returned, got enough of the player, and Lorena gets beat on the far side because her footwork's so bad that she can't get down to her far post side.
Yeah, that was not great goalkeeping for sure.
So I fair. I think they both deserve some blame on that play. Like, Sharples deserves blame for the fact that the shot was even a thing, right? Yeah. I agree with that. But you expect a keeper of Lorena's supposed quality to be able to save that shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and Berger made her saves, right? And it might be that simple, right? Like one keeper makes their saves, the other doesn't, and one team goes on, the other doesn't. And I think the main point that you and I are getting to is, if you take the brakes off, right, and you go for the throat from the very beginning, even with a depleted squad, and you lose, you still lose, right? Like it's the same result, hindsight's 20/20, obviously, but it's the same result either way. You just go down swinging instead of really force in like a super cagey, like ultra defensive match. But as you've also noted, anybody who watched Vlatko coach at the international level, like, this is not a surprise. It shouldn't be a surprise at all, and it just sort of is. It is what it is, and the team was still in the game, and had decent underlying numbers, higher XG,
we can't do because
you're right.
We can't do this because this is exactly what he did I was at those games in New Zealand, and I heard him talk about how they had better XG.
Yeah.
You can't XG your way through a single elimination tournament.
This is true.
You cannot.
This is true, but you can win tournaments when with your good players stepping up and performing, and that's not what happened. Like two of the best players
Right.
were not on the field, and the other players, one of the other top players was obviously pretty injured.
She
still
sprained her
and pretty
MCL
limited. Yeah,
2 weeks ago.
yeah, yep.
I've sprained my MCL before. I've sprained both of them.
Uh-huh.
There's no fucking way I could play soccer
Yeah.
on that. Like, no way. I get, like, Vlatko's making these comments after the game and the post-game. There's no way I could keep her off the field. Yes, you could. You're the fucking coach.
Yeah.
You 100% could do that.
But what was just not thinking of her her physical well-being, like what's the option though? I mean, it's not like there's there's a lot of
This is where you're a coach and you build a tactical plan for the players that you have available to you. You had 2 weeks.
that
There
is
was an international break. You knew what the situation was.
Yep.
Like, I'm serious about this. Like, I'm not trying to have a go at Vlatko and be all Vlatko out. I don't think that they just had the most historic season in NWSL history.
And it means
he's
nothing.
obviously, and it does. I mean, that's not true. It does mean something.
It does, but you know what I mean.
In the case of American professional sports, if you don't win the end of season tournament, it doesn't matter, right?
Yep.
And I understand where that comes from, and I'm not as hard against it as. There's a guy in the SoccerWise Discord that is like a big Botafogo fan who uses like a Botafogo like logo in his avatar, and it just rails against the end of season tournaments. He just thinks they're so dumb. He's like, the regular season means nothing when 10 teams per conference make the playoffs. Blah 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 blah. Whatever.
It's not. It's just fun. That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything until your team like gets on a heater and blasts through the playoffs and wins.
Exactly.
Then it's like, fuck yeah, this is great.
Yeah, and if you weren't entertained by the first round of the MLS playoffs, even if I personally am not a huge fan of the best of three. Those games are fun as shit. Like, if you didn't enjoy those, like I mean, there's something wrong with you.
I mostly only caught the third games, which was actually
those are the most fun as shit.
Smart move on my part. So
game 2 and 3 are typically the ones to watch in those series. Game ones can be good if you like watching Vancouver absolutely eviscerate FC Dallas. Like just watch Dallas take, depending on the statistical model, 1 or 0 shots in the whole game. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Moving back to the current, all of this kind of comes together right at the same time that the NWSL are doing their end of season awards and like releasing the nominees for all the end of season awards. And to be fair, just like MLS, these are regular season awards, right? Like, how do these people perform in the regular season? They're just announcing all of the finalists like right after the first round of playoff games. And of course, Vlatko is amongst the manager of the year or coach of the year awards nominees. It's him, Bev Yanez, and damn it, I shouldn't have even said who all three were because I knew I'd forget one of them. But at any rate, the conversation is between him and Bev Yanez, the head coach of Racing Louisville. I like how people. I think it's Andre does the Racing Louisville thing because of the. But technically, that's what those clubs are. They're Racing Club.
No. They're Louisville's in Kentucky. They should be racing.
They should be racing for sure, but those are the nomenclature comes from
I know
Spanish and Spanish etymological countries that use that term, and it is Racing, Racing Club de Louisville. Anyway, so Bev Yanez, who is amongst I don't want to call her the media darling, but a lot of the media are kind of high on what she's done with that club, and I don't really have anything negative to say about their perspective on that. But it is interesting that all of this is coming out right after Vlatko kind of, in my opinion, has a poor game as a coach.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when we talk about these, one-off games, that is where he has struggled
Yeah.
in big one-off games, at least recently. Now, we're also talking about a guy that won 2 NWSL championships the last time he was here coaching. So it's not that he can't win titles or isn't familiar with them. Did he win a title with the Reign? Have the Reign won a title? I can't remember. Which I think the Reign are the team that hasn't won. I can't remember. This is what happens when I think about this off the top of my head. But he has been an exceptional coach in NWSL for a long time. I am in no way suggesting that they should be thinking about moving on from Vlatko or any of those kinds of things. I do think, and I would like to see a little bit more evolution in how he goes about managing these situations. And I do think that he has a little bit of Peter Vermees turtle syndrome, where the team turtles up in big games.
Yeah. I mean, I think that he's not alone. Like, that's a common thing. Like, you can imagine Manchester City in a knockout stage game in the Champions League, but they're having to play, without Erling Haaland. Like, what are they going to do, right? I mean, are they going to go in guns blazing? Probably not.
I don't think that's the best. I don't think that's the best comparison, because Manchester City still has Ryan Cherky and Jeremy Doku and Phil Foden and all these other fucking guys that can do shit for them, right? Like,
yeah. So the current have all kinds of talent. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. But no, hold on. But 3 of their main attacking players were out, basically. Right. Bia was on the field.
Yeah.
She was not. That's all you could say for her presence in this game, right?
Yep.
She did try to hold up stuff. She was trying to be physical, but her mobility was seriously limited.
Yeah.
And other than being a target for a long ball to lay it off, that she was useless.
Yeah.
In this game.
That's true.
They had 3 major attacking players that were basically ineffective. So it's not just like missing Haaland. It's like missing. It's missing a lot more than that.
So it is, but I think that when you have a player like that or like Temois, right? It's a get out of jail free card in a lot of circumstances, and I think that the team leaned on that a lot during the season. In games where maybe they struggled, they were bailed out by incredible plays by Chiwinga.
100% agree with that.
Yeah. And so there was a failure to develop a comprehensive plan B, and when you run into the Temois issue compounded by the fact that there's no Cooper, there's no plan on how to score goals other than just to grind and hope that somebody comes up with a moment of magic. And it almost happened.
But my point is, they had 4 weeks to do that shit.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't mean to sound like a Vlatko apologist, because you know how I feel about it. Boring soccer is an affront to mankind, and that game was boring as shit, man. Honestly,
it was. And like I was at this game, and I watched him like continue to get, when he would get up and give instructions, it was to compress, both vertically and horizontally. And he was just trying to clog the center of the field, force everything out wide, and defend crosses.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when did the Current become Minnesota United? Like, when did this happen?
Yeah. When the
except without
start.
the long throws or the set pieces.
Yeah. Yep.
It was really frustrating, man. Especially in the first half. So this was a conversation after the game. Will Labonta discussed the difficulties with the wind in this game, and it was very windy at the game. I will admit that it was very windy, and you could see it when they were kicking the ball into the wind. If they kicked it high with any backspin, the thing would just float and stop in the air. And I don't know why it took them so long to stop trying to kick it that way and start trying to kick it lower with more knuckling pace on it. Whatever. That was the first half, was when the Current had the wind in their favor.
Yeah.
So it's just
that's when you should shoot.
Yes.
A lot.
And that is not what happened. And it's just I think you can have reasonable criticism about how Vlatko went about approaching this game. And it goes back to 6 weeks ago when they clinched the Shield, and what his plan was for preparing this team to be at its maximum effectiveness come this game.
Yeah.
Because that plan did not work. And the way he went about it, I think, was misguided. Including playing a player in Temwa who is probably going to be the MVP again, won the Golden Boot 2 years in a row, and has obviously been injured in some way for the last half of the season.
Yeah.
And like not figuring out a way to manage that effectively and getting her fit in the right way. It's just like, I know it's a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking, but some of this seems pretty obvious. Like, I was confused by it at the time, why Temma was playing as much as she was, when she was obviously at some level hurt.
Yeah. Well, and so that's one of those difficult things where, you know, if there is not a big chance of you know, re-injuring or making an injury worse, then, you know, there's less incentive to not play a player to let him rest. Now, obviously, that didn't end up being the case because she ended up getting, you know, amplifying her injury to the point where she couldn't play in a playoff game. But, you know, we're not privy to what those conversations were. And it sure in hindsight, it sure looks like a misstep. That's for certain.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was just so much opportunity to build a plan B.
Yeah.
With the other elite players that you have on the team, and that never happened. They just went into this game trying to keep doing the same shit, except they couldn't. And then they went into an even more conservative defensive shape, but still trying to just spring transition events.
I mean, maybe that was their plan B. Like maybe Vlatko's plan B was like, oh, we'll just stack it in and try and hit on the break. But that was not a viable plan B, obviously. And if that was the case, then he should have been playing Prince a hell of a lot more down the stretch to get her ready.
Right. Like if you meant to do this, then you should have been testing this theory out already.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. Like if this was the plan B, why haven't you been testing that out and iterating on it and making sure that it functions?
Yeah. Yep, I'm with you.
It's just, I mean, and some of this is just frustration with, you know, how that game finished, and it was, you know, it was the extreme wave of emotions going from just sort of being downtrodden and just sort of despondent, and then Ellie Wheeler scores in 90 plus 6 to even it up, and like the roof comes off the place and everybody is excited, and it's like, okay, and they go into the first half of stoppage time and seem fairly bright and seem like they're you know, might still, you know, might just get one before, and then it gets down to, you know, 120 plus 1, and there's a whole lot of just clenched booty time, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what it was, butt cheeks clenched and just holding on. And I mean, more credit to Gotham. That goal was insane. Like the shot was absurd.
Yeah.
That they scored to win the game. But that's what happens when you give a team an opportunity to do that. That can happen.
Absolutely.
By the way, just to, you know, redeem my Kayla Sharple's defense, the XG on the shot that Jaden Shaw took was 0.04, and the post shot XG was 0.16.
Yeah.
Like, I'm with you, but yeah, you don't want to allow that shot, but it's not like Sharples didn't recover well enough to allow it to be an easy save.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Well, we'll have to see. The other sad news is that, you know, we're already starting to hear about the current players that are leaving, right? Lola Bonta did sign a contract extension during the international break leading into this game, so Lo is sticking around. To be determined on Bia. I don't know what's going to happen there, but we did hear that Haley Mace is moving on. I mean, this was fairly easy to predict. You know, they signed Ellie Wheeler to a big extension. They've got Katie Scott on a youth contract. They don't need 3 right backs. it's really dumb to invest a bunch of money in 2 starting level right backs, like in a salary cap situation. So like I understand why, but I'm a big fan of Haley Mace's game, so it's a bummer to see her take off. But I think she's going to have. I mean, she's still a prime age player that is a very good player. I think she's got plenty of prospects and probably ones that are more financially positive for her than they could be in Kansas City. So
Yep, good player who will be missed.
Yes, very much so, and has been here since the cab days.
Yeah.
Like she's been around, she's been through it with us, so it's good to see. Or it's sad to see her go, but I do hope and believe that there will be really good opportunities for her. Otherwise, all right, MLS Round 1 playoffs. We alluded to this already. They are complete.
Glad we were able to sneak them all in before the international break, you know?
Yeah. I saw a thing today where I think it was in a Bogart report where we'll get when we get to the schedule conversation at the end of this, but Bogart was discussing that both LAFC and Vancouver played their last round 1 games on November 1st and 2nd. They don't have another one until November 22nd. That's when they play each other.
Wow.
I mean, we'll get to the schedule conversation in a minute, but there's some obvious reasons why this needs to be fixed. So probably the funniest part of the round 1 playoffs were Luis Suarez getting suspended for doing Luis Suarez things, and the Inter Miami communications department, which I have to believe is either Lionel Messi's dad or Jorge Mas after 3 tequilas. It goes absolutely like fucking whiny bitch about the whole situation. It sounded like I don't want to take shots at our listeners, but it sounded like when Mark and George go complaining on the Discord about referees. Like it's really what it sounded like, didn't it? Like it really did. It sounded like the referee screwed us and they're not consistent and nah. I'm like, bro, your dude like literally who has a fucking well documented history of doing these shitty types of things. Yeah. Did another shitty type of thing and deserved to be suspended. So go pound sand, as we used to say in the Army. Like this is what it is. And I honestly believe that Miami looked better without him. Like they actually could press high.
Yeah.
When he's not on the field.
Yeah.
Because Suarez is basically an immovable object for most of the game.
He's Kaiser Sosa until he's like in the goal, and then he's like a sprinter.
Yeah, exactly. All of a sudden he's got a full. He can move again. But yeah, I mean, like when they went when they take him out of the lineup and they put an actual mobile player in his position, their high press was suffocating Nashville in this game, and I think it was noteworthy, and I think it adds a whole new flavor to what they can be as a team. And they're a much more difficult team if you can't easily just play into their back line.
Yeah.
That's always been the big issue with them is like when their back line has to defend space, they struggle. And if their press can keep that from having to happen as often, I think that's a positive for them. So
yeah, anytime you can limit the amount of defensive liabilities you have on the field, especially the ones that are over 35 years old, you can do that. If you can play with just 2 of those and not 3, it's probably going to work out better for you.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Suarez in the offseason, but I can't believe that I got to believe that he's going with Busquets and Alba to retirement zone. The problem is he's one of those guys that I don't think knows how to retire.
No. What would he do? Like, he would show up to like men's league games and get red carded and kicked out in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Oh, of course. But I mean, bro, like, can you find a hobby or, a family to go hang out with or something? Like, jeez. The Hell Is Real series was really good.
It was.
Both for just the dichotomy of the games, like the home and away. The first game was a very Cincinnati kind of game where they just sort of sucked the life out of the game and get a goal late. I do think they were the better team on the day, and for them to be as effective at taking the air out of Columbus's strategy the way they did and still like create the goal scoring chances, I thought was good. I do think Noonan ball is a bit reductive and boring, but they can get away with doing it with the players that they have. And even though they got absolutely dog walk in Columbus, they came back at home and then they did what they do. And then Evander does what he does and game's over. Right. Yep. And I think that's, we've discussed in several circumstances, usually in key games and in the MLS playoffs, the defining characteristic is who's got the best player.
That's why you have to, choose your DPs carefully. And you have to have DPs because we learned that in Kansas City the hard way, right? Like if you can have great comprehensive balanced squads, but if you roll into the playoffs and these single elimination games, you gotta have superior players because those players make differences, and we saw that in obviously we saw that in Miami, but we definitely saw it with Cincinnati as well. Because Cincinnati, Columbus does not have Cucho, and so they don't have.
Nor do they have Cucho's replacement.
No,
because Weston Ali is injured.
Yep.
Diego Rossi was just coming back from injury when the playoffs started. He did not look fully himself in the first game. The second game, he looked way better.
Yeah, I thought he looked.
But still, Rossi can't do everything himself, and obviously Gazdag was not a good signing for them, right? So Columbus was basically operating with kind of 3/4 of a DP.
Yeah.
That was kind of what they had, and as good as Wilfred Nancy is, who might be the new coach of Celtic, it sounds like, he can't overcome the fact that Columbus is just quite a bit, or Cincinnati was quite a bit more talented than Columbus was in these matches, and eventually the talent sort of shone through. And that is going to be a spicy matchup between them and Miami in Cincinnati. That is going to be a fun one to watch, I think, because the Cincinnati fans show up and their stadium is really good and their environment is really good. And Cincinnati does have really good fucking players, and Evander will wreck shop against that Miami back line if he is given the chance. I do think Miami, Javier Mascherano finally relenting and taking Oscar Ustari out of goal and bringing in Rocco Rios Novo.
Made a big difference, didn't it?
I mean, I've been saying this for fucking months, but people are acting like, oh, it was so brave of him to do this. I'm like, bro, you're the fucking coach. Like, make the change. This is not hard to see.
But when you have to, he had to get Messi's permission first, so
Yeah, or his dad. Yeah, Messi's dad, one or the other. Anyway. I do think that's going to be a pretty good matchup.
Yeah.
What else? San Diego was a very fun team to watch. Now Portland is not good, which has something to do with it. But Phil Neville, for whatever reason, in that third game, decided to high press, try to, and then San Diego was like, "Thank you, we will just play through your press and absolutely eviscerate you." And it was, I mean, I don't know why, but I take a lot of pleasure in watching Phil Neville get fucking the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah, me too. He's not a good coach, and I was surprised when he got the Portland job, and I'm surprised that he's still the coach there because I have never been impressed with anything that he's done. And he kind of outsmarted himself, right? Like he went with the high press in game 2, and it was a curveball. And the reason curveballs work is because you don't throw them all the time. So when you throw 2 in a row, and the second one gets hit out of the park for a home run, that's on you.
Shohei Ohtani hits it 500 feet the second time, right?
Yeah, that's on you because you shouldn't have done it twice, right? You gotta be smarter than that.
Well, especially because San Diego, once Mikey Veras saw the press and was able to prepare for it, San Diego is a team that actually relishes playing against a press because
that's what they do.
Yeah. And their ball movement in this game was absurd. Yeah. It was beautiful. It was beautiful to watch. The last time I remember seeing that and being that impressed by an MLS team passing it around was Sporting Kansas City versus Chivas in the Leagues Cup. Do you remember that game?
No, do I?
I mean, the Chivas fans were fighting in the plaza afterward. They were so mad.
Yeah.
But it was Sporting just absolutely baited them into pressure, passed around them and through them. And that was the last time I remember watching an MLS team just move the ball that precisely and that beautifully and just absolutely blow a team apart. It was fun. It was good.
Yep.
If you like watching fun soccer, like that was fun soccer to watch.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
a lot of props to San Diego on that one. I think they have a much different task against Minnesota.
Because Minnesota.
It is the team that wants all the possession versus the team that wants none of it. And man, I mean, I guess just force Seattle to go to penalty kicks, right? Like that's just the thing. Like just force them to go to penalties because they suck at them.
I mean, you can do that when you have a quality goalkeeper, right? Like you wouldn't want to do that if I don't know, like John Polskamp was your goalkeeper, but if you've got Dane St.
When you have goalkeeper of the year,
right
between the pipes,
right? You're like, we can do
it's
it.
Not Sinclair's just not. I mean, I don't think he's anywhere near like Tim Melia levels of penalty saving.
He's not, but he's got vibes.
He's a gamesman, man. Yeah. The gamesmanship is off the charts with this guy. The whole thing in the first round game where he like kissed the post after Roldan like hit it, like just like that kind of shit I love, man. He is just he's a fun guy to watch, and at least in the game 3, like they made the change to bring in Andrew Thomas, who is a much better penalty goalkeeper than Stephen Fry is. So you saw the change be made there, and then Thomas like sprains his finger or breaks his finger on the first save.
Broke it.
Yeah, he broke his finger and he saved it, but he broke his finger, and then he still made another save. It actually was his foot that was the problem at the end, not his hand. But yeah,
his penalty is an all-timer, dude. It is so wonderful. It is up there with
it hit the crossbar so fucking hard, dude. I think it's still ringing.
It's up there with Eddie Johnson's, that's for sure. That's an all-timer.
Man. I mean, and yeah, Seattle's got a history of these, right? Like they do have a storied history of missing the last penalty. The interesting thing to me was that Minnesota, when behind and down a man,
they just kept doing their thing.
Well, no, they actually started playing soccer.
Oh.
They started playing soccer. And I was like, they can do this. They are capable of playing soccer. And got these goals. I mean, it wasn't like tiki-taka. It wasn't that they became, 2011 Barcelona, but they certainly started playing soccer and it looked good. And I was just reminding me of the fact that like they do have good players that can play. Yeah, they haram ball by choice.
They do.
not because they have to.
Yep.
It led to a very interesting Wes Burdine went on a bit of a rant. He like broke out the Substack so he could talk about how actually Minnesota United is a fun soccer team. And I'm like,
only when
you
win, dude.
Are you sure about that? You sure about that?
Only when you win.
It's only fun when you're a fan of them and you just won.
When that kind of team isn't winning, it sucks ass. Like worse than normal ass suckage.
I need to like clip that.
Like everybody,
quotable.
Hey, when Mourinho was winning silverware, playing like that, he was the special one. And when he stopped, where is he now? Back in Turkey with a couple of stops along the way. So that shit gets real old real quick if you're not stacking wins.
I know. I watched it for several years between him and Conte. Look, I'm happy that for the Minnesota fans and having some joy with their soccer team. But it is not fun to watch as a neutral. I understand as a fan of the team, you are sort of bought into the philosophy.
Sure.
Nottingham Forest fans were all about that shit last season. Okay? Sunderland fans are all about it this season.
Uh-huh.
No one else likes it. Okay. And that's okay. That's okay. You can, be the everybody's against us guys. That's the perfect sports meme talking point of all time. Everybody's against us. Okay, cool. Like, I get it. Like, puff your chest out, say your shit. I'm all for it. But that's not fun soccer. I'm sorry. Like, I do not turn on MLS games to watch 37-year-old Michael Boxall doing long throws over and over again. I just
agree.
don't.
I will. While I agree with you, and like I agree with like 95%. It's not fun. All of those things, but it can produce spectacular moments because when you have a team who can play like that and then counterattack the right way, I don't know. That's like soccer crack to me, dude, is when a team can just blast down the field in like two or three passes.
They did that when they had Olo O'Shea. They're not really doing that right now. So it's all set pieces right now.
Very true. No, the set piece thing I'm out on. That's boring shit. I don't like it. And I know that.
It's entertaining to me as a neutral watching Seattle go up, 3-1 and a man, or 2-1 and a man. And then thinking this is over, and then watching Minnesota equalize.
Oh, hell yeah. No, that Seattle part of it's hilarious.
Like, that shit, I'm sorry. Like, the schadenfreude is real when it comes to the Sounders. And there are tons of Sounders fans or personalities in my Blue Sky feed. Yeah. So watching them all, like, simultaneously fall apart is for sure entertaining to me. That part is entertaining. The route by which it happens is not. Whatever.
I love how can this be happening to us? We're better. We have better players. We play like attractive soccer. We play soccer the right way, damn it. How can this be happening to me? I love that.
That's the most Seattle Sounders fan reaction of all time. It is the absolute did you guys intentionally do this so that we could all make memes of you doing the Seattle Sounders fan thing? Because you hit the nail on the head. Like, it was perfect performance. Anyway, I don't know how that Minnesota San Diego game is going to go. It has to be on Monday night again because it's in San Diego and there's a San Diego State football game. Of course, it's Snapdragon on Saturday, so cool. 9:30 p.m. on Monday night. Just perfect time for a playoff game. We're getting to the schedule thing, I promise. I'm not even going to get into the Chicago stuff. I'm just going to say maybe Chicago fans don't deserve postseason games if they're going to act the way they did at the end of the Philadelphia game. Just going to say.
Cut them some slack. It's been a long, long time for them.
Well, no. They resorted to the chant. They were doing the chant for 30 minutes at the end of the game. I'm sorry. No, just fuck you. Go back to you can just go back to being the bottom of the table every year.
They don't know any better, Drew. The last time they were relevant at all, the chant was okay, right? Like in their eyes. They they don't realize times have changed.
Yeah. I guess. Anyway, they can just go back to not being in the playoffs as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Like, just don't be a shitty person, man. This just goes back to my thing. Roger Espinosa wears the be a good person brand stuff all the time. It's like, just be a good person. Just don't be a shitty person. That's all I'm asking. I get your team lost. You can boo. You can be mad. You can be mad at the players. You can be mad at Triple G if you think it's his fault, whatever. Just don't be shitty. Yeah. Don't be shitty.
It's not that hard.
That's all I'm asking. It's really not hard. No. It's really not hard not to be a shitty person. What we are going to get is LAFC Vancouver. Now, it is going to be 3 weeks between the competitive games for those two teams. But, man, am I fired up about that one.
That's 3 weeks more fitness for Ryan Gauld, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. It is. And Gauld, will we see Gauld, White, and Mueller in the starting lineup? That's a possibility. That would be fucking cool.
Yeah.
Sun Heung-min and Denny Bouanga doing their thing. They have sold out BC Place. Going to be 52,000 plus. It's going to be a vibe.
It's going to be pretty good. Yep.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. All right. The last thing on the MLS side of things is the new schedule. So this has been a topic you and I have discussed quite a few times on the podcast. The reporting came out today via The Athletic that during the Board of Governors meeting, they plan to vote on moving MLS to a fall-spring schedule format where the offseason will be in the summer as opposed to in the winter. So they will no longer play through the summer. It will include a winter break of some kind for weather purposes. It sounds like, the goal, the idea is to play somewhere to the middle of December and then pick up again with regular season matches. They said either the first or the third week of February, mainly because obviously they don't want to launch the beginning of the second half of the season in the middle of Super Bowl weekend. So that obviously has caught the attention of a lot of fervent MLS fans. I think we've been through this topic enough times as far as like the pros and cons for it. Candidly, I fucking hate going to games in the middle of July. So
me too.
I'm like, cool. I do understand some of the concerns. I think the concerns are valid, especially in the colder areas of the country, trying to figure out how to make games work in those environments. It sounds like some dispensation is going to have to be figured out, and that had something to do with why certain teams were holdouts against this when they were going to try to do it at the end of, like, do a sort of partial season going into the World Cup and then start this after the World Cup. Now it looks like this probably wouldn't happen until 2027, just given the delays and whatnot. But I think also they had to come up with some dispensation. So when the J League in Japan did this, and they just started it recently, when they made this decision, they did create financial dispensation for the colder weather cities that were trying to figure out how to manage playing in colder and snowier environments, and it gave them some financial benefit to be able to retrofit training facilities, stadium facilities, etc., to make them prepare them to be games in some of these environments. I also think a lot of this is going to be schedule related. So something we also, and when I say schedule related, I'm talking about what games are scheduled when, right? When your home games are scheduled against which opponents, et cetera, et cetera. And that is another thing that appears to be part of this package, which includes getting rid of conferences, going to a single table, but having divisions. So you would have 5 6-team divisions. You would play all of those opponents home and away, and then you would play every other team in the league once every season, and it seems like you would basically alternate year to year whether you had that team home or away. So that would get you to 34 games. You would have a little bit more of a balanced schedule without overdoing it on the travel side of things, which I think is a big concern that a lot of teams have, right? It's just the nature of travel in MLS is completely different than it is in any other professional league in the world. So these seem like, just in a general state, like I think probably the right choices to make. Again, we've discussed several times, having the playoffs in November in the middle of international windows sucks. It doesn't work. Like, how do you have the most important part of your season get postponed for 2 weeks? Or 10 days, whatever you want to call it, right? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. We've obviously discussed the competition with college and NFL football. I don't know how much of a thing that really is, realistically. Like, I think, how much crossover there is between those two things, but
I think when MLS, maybe 10 years ago, when MLS really saw itself as having to battle with other sports in this country for viewership, I think that was a consideration. But I think now, especially with the advent of the Apple TV deal, a lot of viewership from of MLS is not even based in the United States, and there's enough
a lot of that's messy and Sung Hung Min related.
Sure. But there's a big enough pie for everybody, right? Like you're not necessarily competing directly with NFL. You're not necessarily competing directly with college sports. I think that there's enough. I think there's enough for everybody. And
I mean, it's a key thing to remember that, like, the Super Bowl gets 110 million viewers or whatever, and you think of it like just everybody watches the Super Bowl. There are 365 million people in the United States.
Yeah.
It's not even a third. Now, granted, you think about kids and stuff like that, but even, like, if you think of just, like, adults who watch television, it's not even half of them watch the Super Bowl, much less Jacksonville versus Cincinnati, right? Like, I think that we need to recognize that. I think to your point about there's room for everybody. This isn't zero sum. You don't need to pull someone away from football to watch MLS.
Yeah.
That said, having less significant competition especially with TV partners, if you're trying to rebroadcast this on ESPN or Fox or whatever you're continuing to do, along with Apple, having less competition for that attention span is really important. And additionally, I think it's just more of a competitive thing. And this is really where I've come around to this, is more the competitive side of things.
Yeah.
It makes no fucking sense for the biggest window for you to sign players internationally to be 2/3 of the way through your regular season.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
It screws teams over if they sell teams. It makes it really, or if they sell
we just
players,
talking about Tani Oluwaseyi, right? Like Minnesota's
and the same thing applies to like RSL last year. Same thing, and it also makes it really hard to sign good players in August and bring them in and get like 6 games from them, and
the only ones that work are these, and I know people do the retirement league nonsense and whatnot, but the only ones that typically work are the 32-plus-year-old seasoned Europeans who can just come into a team and perform because they've been around long enough that they can just do that.
If you're not signing that player, then you're signing a developmental player for the next season anyway. So what's the fucking point?
Right.
So,
So like I just think they have to, from a competitive reasons, they have to switch the schedule. Like that part I have really come around to, and it's gonna suck. In some of these cities during some of these months, it's gonna be cold. I mean, yes, I get it. And I think it is going to limit attendance in some of those places. But I got to be honest. I have noticed that in-person sports viewing has dwindled in general.
Seems
over
like
the last, year and a half.
Yep, seems like
and
it.
I don't know if that's economic, if it's inflation related, like what it is, it's causing that. But it's MLS is struggling with an attendance problem regardless of whether or not they change the schedule. So I think improving the quality on the field is always going to be most paramount in making the league better. And the way that they do that is by aligning themselves with the rest of the world when it comes to competing internationally for players and transfers and things of that nature. So I think that is going to be the biggest benefit. And it's going to be a slow burn. A lot of people talk about, if we go to single table and pro rel and no playoffs or whatever, and we just mimic that's going to be a big thing. It's not. The only thing that is going to add eyeballs to this league are the players in it.
Yep.
Period. And the only way that you're going to improve the quality of players in it is by participating in the global transfer market. And the only way that you can do that effectively is by aligning to their schedule.
Yep. Totally agree.
End of discussion.
I'm glad you've come around, Drew. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I mean, I think I wasn't sure about how impactful some of these things would be until, like I said, there've been more. The league has become more and more involved. I think the problem is that I didn't see. I saw the LAs of the world participating in it, right? The Miamis. I didn't see the Minnesotas and the RSLs doing it.
Right.
And now we're seeing that, and I think that is the big thing that sort of shifted my perspective on it. I didn't think it would be that big of a deal until I started to see, like I said, I think Minnesota's chances for MLS Cup are completely fucked because they had to sell Tani Oluwaseyi.
Yep.
Like, I think they could beat San Diego with their philosophy if Tani was on the field. And maybe they still might. I mean, it's MLS. Anything can happen. But I just don't see any way Minnesota makes it all the way through to MLS Cup final and wins with the roster they have.
Totally agree.
And I think, like you said, RSL had the same problem last year, and they sort of knee jerked to try to fix it, and that didn't work out, and now they're having to like
now they're kind of
really
fucked.
reset.
Yeah,
they're having to really reset to try to figure that part out, right? And that sucks, right? It sucks for a team to take a 2-year like turnaround, especially when they have Diego Luna doing what he's doing. They have Xavier Gozo continuing to improve, so they have really fun young players as well. And I don't know how long Luna's going to be there.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, I feel like that's a guy that's going to, once he gets eyeballs on him at the World Cup.
One would hope. He would hope. We would hope, as United States fans, that he plays so well at the World Cup that
we would hope. I don't think all USMNT fans want Diego Luna to show out.
You don't think so?
Are expecting it?
Do you think there are some people who prefer other players?
Yeah, let's get into that conversation. So the U.S. men's national team roster came out, and it was not that exciting. There are a number of players either injured or just returning from injury that were not selected, including Tyler Adams. God damn it, man. Like, I just felt like Tyler was finally getting into, like, everyday gameplay form. I don't know if you saw this head collision that he had, but it was...
I did, yeah. But
I don't know how he kept playing in that game, dude. That's fucked that he played in that game.
I mean, he passed the concussion protocol, because...
Well, maybe they need to fix the concussion protocol.
The guy he ran into got taken off, right?
Yeah, I know. They both should have been taken off, to be completely honest.
I don't disagree. I thought that he didn't look quite right, when he stood up after that. He seemed kind of out of it, and I was like, this is not...
this doesn't look good. No. Like, it was a bad look for the Premier League, especially now that he's definitely out for a while with concussion symptoms. Yep. So... And, I mean, like, England is kind of like the NFL 15 years ago when it comes to dealing with this.
Yeah.
And they just need to be better about it, man. They just need to be better. It's a player safety issue. It goes back, and we didn't even get into this conversation. You sort of alluded to it about Bia. But we have a significant player safety issue with women's professional soccer. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing that I'm not really excited about how Vlatko handled that situation.
Yeah.
But with Tyler, it's just a bummer, man. Like, after his back spasm shit and having to go through the weird like surgeries and stuff to fix it, he was playing fucking great this season, man.
Yep.
He looked like himself again.
It's okay. I mean, he's still. It's okay. It's all right. It's not. It's not the end of the world. It's just a friendly.
Right.
He can.
Yeah, we don't need him in these games. No. We need him in June of next year, right?
100%.
And hopefully that is where all of us accelerates towards.
And honestly, I think at this point, Bournemouth needs him just as badly as the United States.
I think they're going to be in deep shit. Well, especially like they have 2 guys out now, right, with concussion issues for a while.
He's pretty key to the way that they play and what they do. So I think that
he is a perfect fit for what Iraola wants them to do, and that's part of the reason why he's fit in so well there. I mean, Tyler's a very specific type of player. I think they talked about this on Scuff, but it's part of the reason why he sort of fell out at Leipzig, because when they kind of moved away from energy drink soccer to Nagelsmann running more of a possession-based system, he just sort of fell out of favor there because it was just not his.
It's not his game.
Forte, right? Like, that's just not something that he's quite as adept at. But when he gets to play, when he played at Leeds and now playing at Bournemouth, it is not energy drink soccer, but it is very much intended to create. I hate calling it car crash soccer because it's not really what it is, but it is intended to create duels. Like, Iraola wants duels to happen, and he wants his team to sort of make the duel happen, win the duel, and then release, right? And that's Tyler Adams.
He's all about it.
He's like, yes, thank you. I will absolutely go get in some duels and win.
I mean, he has personally created a handful of goals this season just based on his ability to like push up and disrupt teams trying to get out, trying to play out on a counterattack or play up to a midfielder or a center forward, and he's just so good at it. I hope that he can. I think that he has too much license to roam for the U.S. men's team, and I think that he would do better with a little bit less responsibility and a little more focus. And so I'm hoping that Pochettino is able.
we haven't got to see him run much in front of this back three. Like, I think he could have license to roam more in front of this back three, and it would be less of a problem.
Yep.
So that was what I was looking forward to, is seeing Tyler play in front of a back three, where if he presses up into the midfield or presses, north of the half line to try to create a problem there and create a quick transition, there's still cover behind him, right? And that has been the problem before, is that they've been playing in a 4-2-3-1, and he's been playing with a midfield partner that doesn't really understand how to cover for him when he does that stuff. And we're just not going to get to see that. What we are going to get to see is one Giovanni Reyna, a player who I'm getting mentions on Blue Sky about this right now, man. Like, the discourse that follows this guy is absurd to me. I don't understand it. I don't understand why people are so fascinated with him, other than the fact that, I will wholeheartedly submit this, he has technical abilities that literally no one else in the pool has. And when he does his shit, it is fucking awesome. I love that version of Giovanni Reyna. The problem is, that version of Giovanni Reyna is only available for 500 minutes a season.
If you're lucky.
Well, I mean, that's what he's averaging over the last 4 years. And I don't know what to, I mean, I made a comment, like, the kickback committee folks put a thing up, and they showed him doing this marauding run through the Mexico defense in a World Cup qualifier. That was a 2022 World Cup qualifier. And I think my commentary was like, this guy, this is great. I love him as a player. We're into the nostalgia range at this point. This was almost 4 years ago, right? Like, the guy that you're talking about, that we're trading off nostalgia, not like the current reality of who he is.
Yep, that's 100% accurate.
And I actually have to read this because this is hilarious. He is very young. Let Potts try to fix him. These are friendlies. Why must you go scorched earth? What did Gio do to you?
What did Gio do to you, Drew?
Nothing. I don't care. I just don't care. I just don't understand why everyone is so focused on this guy. Like, anytime he's in camp,
it's backup. Like it's the backup quarterback syndrome. It's like
this is worse than Steven Afrifa with the home and away Discord.
Right.
Jesus fucking Christ. Like, he has already been injured for Mönchengladbach.
Yeah.
He is a luxury player at this point. Like, everyone needs to recognize the fact that this is a luxury player. Another guy responded to me, he's like, well, he was joint third in goal contributions in 2024 for the national team. That was three. That was three total goal contributions in 2024. That made him joint third. All of them happened in the CONCACAF finals against Jamaica and Mexico in March of 2024. So 19 months ago, in 2 games, he had 3 goal contributions. Like, am I taking crazy pills? Like, what the fuck is going on here? I don't understand it. And then Adam Bells and Sanjay Sujantakumar go on a fucking rant about this on the Scuff podcast for like half an hour, and talk about he's being character assassinated for his comments to the AP, and saying that everyone has Gio derangement syndrome. And I'm like, y'all need to get off Twitter, man. Like, you just need to stop. Just get off Twitter. Just stop. Like, this is not real. These conversations that everyone's arguing about, they're not real life. Like, no one... I'm happy Gio got called into camp. I hope he does well. Can we stop acting like he is the second coming of Jesus Christ every time it happens? I don't understand it. The infatuation with him. Is it because the U.S. national team has just never had a player as technically skilled as him?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that there's nobody like him at all in the pool, and there's not anybody within recent memory like him that's ever played for the United States, and I think that that's just alluring to a lot of people, and people want, I think that a lot of people see him as a silver bullet type player, like, an elite player who can change a game with one pass or one shot. I don't think he's ever been that player, that actual player, right? He's never been.
He
that
has
good.
He has specifically against Mexico in Nations League finals
Right. In 2022.
Well, no, all three of them that he's played in. 2024, 2023, 2022, all three of those Nations League final, like double games, like semifinal, final, is where he has all of his competitive goals contributions for the United States. Mm-hmm. Everything else has been in a friendly.
Yeah. So if we get to play Mexico at the World Cup, let's go. Otherwise,
fucking bring But like if Mexico's in our group, they can't be. But like that's what I'm saying. It's like what.
Yeah,
and this is I'm ranting a little bit about this, and I'm being a little disingenuous. I'm going a little Matt Doyle on this, and I don't mean to do that. I do mean to do that, but if I'm being serious about this, if you're taking 26 players to a World Cup, I don't think you can afford luxury players, especially when 3 of them are goalkeepers. So you have 23 field players.
Yeah,
Gio is a luxury player.
Yep. You
cannot count on him to be any type of fit for a significant amount of minute load. Right, he's basically there for break glass in case of emergency. I don't see how that's a viable way to build a national team roster.
No,
I also think that the international game is probably the most intense physical game in the world.
Yeah.
And intense physicality is the opposite of Gio Reyna, even when he's healthy.
Yeah. You are preaching to the choir on this one there, buddy.
Okay.
I mean, it's I
really hope he does well. Like I hope that somehow in there, like in the guys in my mentions on Blue Sky, are correct. He is still a very young player. Yeah. They can figure out, like, their modern sports science and all that kind of stuff, they can figure out a way to manage him in a way that he can be functional. But I don't think he's ever going to be able to have the level of physical intensity necessary to play regularly at the international level. I've seen nothing that makes me believe that is possible right now. We'll see what happens in the future. I hope he does well. I hope he goes out and balls out against Paraguay. But I think it's unlikely, and I think it's unlikely he plays that much in either of these games.
Yep. These are both going to be intense games, and so intense and physical games. So I would be surprised if he was able to A, play, or B, make much of an impact.
Agreed. Like these are 2 very proud South American teams who are playing in the. Did Paraguay qualify for the World Cup?
Yeah, they're both qualified.
They're both qualified.
Yep.
So these are both teams looking to play in this country next year in the World Cup who are getting their tune-ups for those matches. And the U.S. is severely limited at the top end from a talent perspective. And I don't... Like, I remember how the Uruguay match went in Copa America in 2024. Gio Reyna played in that match. It was not very good.
No, he wasn't.
So, I think this is going to be difficult, extremely difficult, a difficult environment. And anyway, I think, regardless of Gio Reyna, let's move on from Gio Reyna. There's a lot of just concern that I have about whether these games mean much of anything, because it's just like literally the B/C team.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No. The games mean nothing.
Well, and I think that's where, for a certain group of fans who most of them are patrons of the Scuff Pod, like that just solely focus on the U.S. men's national team as their soccer team that they watch in the United States. It's probably pretty frustrating, and I understand why they're like, oh man, we have limited windows to see him before the World Cup and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, look, it was always going to be this way. Yeah. They got rid of January camp, which is just MLS players anyway. And so from November to March, there's no games regardless.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you something. All these players are going to change significantly in fitness and form in that time frame.
Yep.
And then they're going to change even further before we get to May and it gets to World Cup, camp time. And I get from a certain level about quote unquote building rapport and all that kind of stuff. I just don't know how much that shit matters if you're only seeing each other for 10 days every 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna see. I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters all that much. I mean, I think that the thing that matters most is is the quality of the players, and that is either the same or slightly less than it was at the last World Cup. And so I think that that's where folks should set their where folks should set the bar. Although playing in the United States, in North America has, I think, a little bit of a bump factor. You would hope, but I mean, like, don't get out over your skis, right? It's a World Cup. The United States is not a good team. They're not a terrible team. They're not a great team. They're just kind of a, kind of an average squad, and
Yeah, I do think the one point where I'll quibble just a little bit when you talk about is this team better than they were in 2022. I think they are, but it's not in the way that maybe most people would think. I think they are because they can use more than 13 players on the roster.
Sure.
And I think that has been that was the huge issue in Qatar, right? Is that by the time they got to that Netherlands game, those guys were fucking
toast.
smoked.
Yep.
Yeah. Right? I mean, MMA had to play 90 in every match.
Yep.
There were no other options. And you can quibble about Christian Roldan and Sebastian Berhalter and guys like that if you want to. The reality is those guys can eat minutes for you if necessary. Yeah. And I do think that the quality of their depth has improved. I don't think it's elite European starting quality depth, but I think it's much better than the quality of the depth was in 2022.
Yeah.
And I think that from that perspective, and what Poch has done by bringing all of these players in, getting them into the group and seeing them, putting his hands on them, as he likes to say, and whatnot, is that he has found and expanded the pool to the point to where he is going to, in May, based on availability and fitness and all that stuff, be able to put a 26-man roster together of players where all 26 are ones you could reasonably see playing in a game.
Sure, and who have played together at some point.
Exactly. And I think that is the biggest upgrade that this team has. At the top end of the talent, they haven't. I mean, Pulisic is a better player than he was in 2022, for sure. I think Wes has gotten better too. I think Balogun is probably the other big significant upgrade that they have over 2022. But I think that for the most part, it's more about just elevating the entirety of the team. And I think that's what Poch has been focused on. And I understand now why he was focused on it. And it makes sense. It really does.
What do you think the chances are that we get put in a group with Morocco for the World Cup?
I don't know, man, because we got them in the U20 World Cup knockouts. They knocked us out. We've got them in the U17 World Cup knockouts on Friday morning, it looks like. And so, yeah, maybe so. It could be. When is the draw? Is in a beginning, first week of December, right? Mm-hmm. Is that when the draw is? So I guess we'll find out then. I guess it's possible. I don't know what the pots look like, so I don't know if Morocco is in a pot where it could possibly happen, but maybe so.
Maybe so.
We'll have to see. Any other thoughts on these U.S. men's national team games?
No. I mean, they are. I don't know. They're just weird games because they're not qualifiers. They're friendlies. They're less important. They're less
in October. They didn't look like friendlies.
So what I was going to say is they're less important than qualifiers, but they're more important than friendlies. They're kind of in this really weird gray area, these clubs don't have all of their top players either. But the thing I like about them is that they're both really physical and intense teams, both of them, and so I think that they represent a good challenge. I am not optimistic about how the United States will do in these games. I'm not optimistic about their ability to score. I'm not optimistic about their ability to keep the other teams from scoring. So it's going to be very interesting, I think, to watch.
Have you watched much of Leeds this year? Because Brendo's been playing decent for them, it feels like.
I mean, I know he's been playing. He's not impressed me whenever I have seen him. Mostly because like he's still a little brother, man. He still gets pushed off the ball so easily. He loses possession so easily.
So does Florian Wirtz, but that fucking guy goes out every week for Liverpool.
Why? Why?
Because you do this shit to me all the time.
Okay, you're right.
100% do this shit to me all the time.
That's fair. So, I do.
When I see an opportunity, I got to take it.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe if I was a Germany fan, I wouldn't be thrilled about Wirtz either. But yeah, we've at least seen Wirtz compete at a very high level, not as high as the Premier League, obviously. And I don't know, the jury's still out on Aronson. I just like he just has a very limited appeal, right? Like if you're gonna press and you want somebody to run out there and give you maximum energy, then great, stick him in there. But like I mean, the dude's not a great passer. He's not a great finisher. He's not I don't think he has the highest soccer IQ. He's just like a run hard, work hard type of guy, which you need. I'm not opposed to putting him on a roster, but I'm opposed to seeing him start meaningful games. That's for certain. So yeah,
I think he's on the fringes of a World Cup roster, just depending on available, healthy players. I mean, the only reason that he's on this roster is because Pulisic, Weah, Zendejas, who else? There's so many guys out that that's the main reason that he's in on this one. I am glad that we're gonna see. We may see Haji Wright play a little bit of wing. They've got Balogun Wright and Pepe in this roster, which is the first time I felt like they've had their three best strikers. I don't know how long it's been. Honestly,
one of the reasons why I was thrilled that they started tinkering with a 3-man back line and why I think that they should still go that direction is because the team just does not have wingers. Like it doesn't have pure wingers.
No, they've always been half space merchants for sure. But they've always trotted out setups that treat them like they're wingers, and they're just not fucking wingers, dude. Poch making way up left wing because he's right-eye dominant.
Right,
all this other bullshit.
That's stupid shit. Like honestly,
just let's stop. Let's stop doing that. And you and I have been proponents about this box midfield for a long time.
Yep.
Like we have long been on this train. I'm glad to see our mindset be proven out. Maybe we should be the head coaches of the U.S. men's national team.
It makes the most sense. It puts your best players in their best areas of the field in order to succeed, and that's what it's all about, honestly.
Right, and to counter the argument that our center backs aren't that good, why would you put three of them on the field? It's like because our center backs aren't that good, we need three of them to defend.
Sure.
That
sure.
is why.
And they're defenders. And so you let them defend. You let your defenders defend. And Max Arfston is not a fucking defender, dude. So don't ask him to do shit he can't do. Just make him a wing back and let him do his thing.
But that's where I'm kind of somewhat interested with. I don't like the double pivot at all. Like I don't like the double pivot options at all. As far as they don't fill me with a ton of confidence against teams like Paraguay and Uruguay, but a back three with Dest and Arfston as wingbacks, that shit sounds fun.
I mean, you can still run a 3-5-2. You don't have to have a double pivot. I mean, look at the way that Chelsea plays.
You want to run like Aiden Morris as a 6?
Look at the way Chelsea plays. No, in these games, sure, right? But you can.
Maybe Rodon's one as a single pivot 6 for Seattle before. So.
Yeah, Rodon could do that job for sure. I don't mind Rodon as part of a double pivot, honestly. Like Rodon,
I don't either. It's more who's next to Rodon. Right. Is it Rodon and Aiden Morris? Maybe it's Rodon and Fucking Tanner Tessman.
I would prefer. I
have a bias against Tessman. So
I would prefer Roldan and Tessman. I think that's a more balanced midfield than Roldan and Morris. But I mean, whatever. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I think Morris is a little too. Is not useful enough in possession.
Right.
Whereas
Tessman can do some shit. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Tessman is just a little slow to react sometimes. That's like my main issue with him. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I just want
Tim Tillman got moved into the roster because Zawadzki is injured.
Yeah, I saw that. Wow. Okay. Yay.
You know what was great, and I thought this, and I wasn't even going to comment on it. I thought this, but on the SoccerWise Discord, an LAFC fan is like, "I take Mark Delgado over Tillman every time," and I'm like, "Yes, thank you."
Yeah, me too.
There's.
I'd take Busio over Tillman, honestly. Like
100%, 100%. Yeah.
There's no the ceiling with Tillman is so low. I mean, he might not even see the field, honestly. So who cares? But yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Low expectations.
That's true. We should have low expectations,
and that's okay. It's not a big deal.
I think it's good to see Serge and Arvston doing their wingback thing.
Yeah,
that is the thing that I'm probably the most interested in. And yeah, I mean, a Brendo Diego Luna dual 10 situation, I guess, is what we're gonna. Whatever. Whatever. With Gio Reyna coming in for the last.
It doesn't take long looking at the roster to be like, whatever. YOLO.
Just pour another whiskey.
Yeah, we're just be grateful that this is a friendly roster and this is not what we're going to be trotting out at the World Cup. Hopefully, because
exactly it doesn't actually mean
because if we
sure.
had to play this group of players, during the World Cup, we'd get grouped in a hurry.
Oh yeah, we get grouped at a home World Cup, which would be great. It's okay because no one we know will be going to the games because it costs like fucking $1,000.
Well, nobody I know. You run in a different crowd than I do, Drew. You might know some of those folks. But I guarantee you, ain't no teachers going to those games.
There are people I know that will be at the games. But yes, they have a significant net worth for sure.
Dude,
it's
so disappointing, honestly.
They just announced today that they raised a bunch of the prices for the final and the USMNT national team games because they're doing the dynamic pricing and the levels and whatnot, and they saw what the demand was in the first round. So yeah,
I'm just hoping.
I think it's going to be a minimum of $3,000 just to get into the final.
Yeah, I mean. It's a final. That's
it's what FIFA wants.
That's not that surprising. So
we're the world's ATM. They know. They know what they're gonna. They know they're gonna get the money.
I'm just crossing my fingers that that those of us who are in Kansas City can find some affordable tickets to the whatever games are in Kansas City and just go to a game. Like I don't even want to go to a United States game. Like I'm not like. I don't even care, right? I just want to go to a World Cup game. I think that would be fun, and a once in a lifetime thing probably for me, and it's looking unlikely that I would be able to do that unless
I'm telling you right now, it's going to be cheaper for you to travel to Brazil in 2027 and go see the women play.
So why wouldn't I do that, right? Like why wouldn't I do that?
And I mean, as someone who went to New Zealand in 2023, I highly recommend just doing that.
Yeah,
because I have been to one men's World Cup game in my life, and it was at Soldier Field in 1994. I begged my dad to take me to the game, and he did. And back then, you could, it was something. It was expensive. Where I grew up in Michigan is about a 2-hour drive from Chicago, so that was the closest to go to a game. And I mean, it was expensive, but it wasn't half a year's salary expensive to do it, right? I mean, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean, right? And so we'll have to see. This is not about making the game for everyone.
Yeah,
this is about making the game for rich people.
100%. Like I shouldn't have to pay Super Bowl prices to go see a fucking group game. You know what I'm saying? That a group game with teams that aren't even host nation games. But whatever. It is what it is. We'll deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, That went down a fairly negative path that I wasn't expecting it to go down. Okay, let's talk about. We're gonna table the game model and tactical stuff for at least a week.
We got a lot of time.
That's a conversation. Yeah, we were discussing before we started recording how there's not a whole lot going on around this club, and we probably won't hear much around it until mid-December when they start doing some player stuff. Maybe they hire a coach, and we'll talk about that for sure when it happens. But the discussion around how to build the team and how we like to do it, and the things that we're seeing globally, and some thoughts that we have about what type of style works in MLS. What type of style fits with the two DPs they have and to build around them. I mean, just a lot of things that I think, dependencies that go into that thought process that I'm sure David Lee is actively, kind of going through right now as they look at scouting. And it's also really dependent on what players are available for you to sign. There's just a lot of stuff that goes into it. But we both have some thoughts on that, and we definitely want to get into that deep, and maybe we'll do that next week. We'll see how things work news-wise, but we definitely will keep that one in the chamber for now, because I think that's a much longer discussion than we're going to do at the end of 90 minutes of discussion already.
Yeah.
The last thing that I will say is that we are starting to see some MLS free agents pop up, like players that are going to be out of contract or are leaving. The first two of significant note, I should say two, there were three. Maxime Crepeau is one of them as well. And the only reason I bring up Crepeau is because he obviously is a veteran goalkeeper that would sort of fit the mold of the type of guy that you could bring in that, could be a second goalkeeper, could compete to be the first goalkeeper and whatnot. It seems like maybe it's unlikely he would go to a U.S.-based team. I don't know if he has a green card or not. Now that makes me think of this. Should I check and see if he has one? But he was playing in Portland and L.A., so maybe he has one by now. But it sounds like maybe they're interested in Toronto. Might be a good landing spot for him because they're probably moving on from Sean Johnson, and obviously he would be a Canadian domestic, so that would make a whole lot of sense as a place for him to go. We'll have to see what happens there. But that was a name that popped up that I thought was of some interest for the needs that Sporting Kansas City has, which are many, right? There are many needs. So a lot of players are going to fit some of these needs. And one of them, which I thought was kind of an interesting one, that just happened today, was Cristian Espinoza.
It looks like he does have his green card, just so you know.
So he's not an international this year? Okay, good. Anyway, the one that was the most eye-opening today, apparently San Jose fucked around and didn't pick up Cristian Espinoza's option. Now, you want to talk about a player that had my eyes open. I was like, oh, okay. Now we're talking about somebody. He is 30 years old, but you want to talk about a guy that I feel fairly confident would cook.
I don't know. We already have right wing under lockdown, so we don't need.
Yeah, that. Right. Shopee and Afrifa got that shit locked down, buddy. Seriously, man, that. Whew. That guy's a chance creating machine.
He is. He's an elite chance creator in MLS.
Yeah, and has been his whole career
in
MLS
on shitty teams and good teams.
Yeah,
or goodish teams. So he'll cook regardless. That would be a home run signing.
I think the reality with Espinoza is, like I said, it sounds like they meant to get him signed before the option expired. Like they actually offered him another contract or something along those lines. I don't know. Tom Boger's going to go into more detail on it on SoccerWise tomorrow. So we're recording this Wednesday night. So the Thursday SoccerWise should have some more detail about this. But it sounds like they fucked it up a little bit and letting him go to free agency and not exercising his option in time. So now he's going to be able to go see what the market is.
He's probably a DP player, right?
Yeah, I mean, he probably is. He's 30 though.
Right. He's 30, but his game, it doesn't revolve around athleticism so much. Even though he is a wing player, he's not a burner, and so I think that it still might be worth that. I don't know.
He's much more of a Johnny Russell type winger than he is.
I don't know that I want my club to do that, but I don't know. He is intriguing for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I don't know if spending a DP slot on him is the right thing for Sporting Kansas City to be doing right now. If they could get him as a max TAM player, I would 100% be in. Like I would say, sign now.
Yep.
Sign him immediately. I think the bidding market for him will be such that there will be multiple teams willing to make him a DP.
Yep, I'm sure.
And
they should.
That probably, and yeah, I'm not saying that he shouldn't. I don't think he should be making $11 million a year like Sun Heung Min, but I do think that making more than $1.8 million a year isn't unrealistic for the type of player that he is. And I think that there will be multiple teams that will be willing to do it. The question for him is, and this is a legitimate question for you to have as a 30-year-old who's been a DP making $2 million plus a year for San Jose for the last several years, is do I want to make $2.5 million playing for FC Dallas, or do I want to make $1.8 million playing for someone else?
Right.
The problem is Sporting doesn't really have a great story to tell in that regard either, right? So I think that it's going to be difficult for them to pull that off. I would like to see it. I would want, as I said in the Discord, to say that he would be an upgrade over Shoppy is the understatement of the century. So, and I think that alleviates a lot of Manu's responsibilities with hitting the final pass.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now Manu can just be an insane ball progressor.
Yep.
And I think that those three players would create a lot of goals between the three of them.
Totally
I would be extremely excited to see it, but I it's more wish casting than anything else.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what this is. This is one of those cases where there's so much other things that need to be done. That it's just like if Sporting.
That's what I'm saying. If he's a max TAM player, I can understand it.
Yeah.
But as David Lee said in his press conference, he wants to go with the 2-4 setup because he wants the extra GAM to really build up the middle of the roster, and that makes sense, right? Yeah. Like I get it. Like and that is the more important area to make the team better, make the baseline of the team better, right?
We're not in win now mode.
Yeah. That's right. The third DP is a luxury you sign after you've done everything else.
Yep.
Right. And
100%.
We're not anywhere close to having done everything else. So, and speaking of guys who probably want a DP deal, is Walker Zimmerman, who is also apparently leaving Nashville. Now, I don't know what Walker's prospects are going to be for a DP contract at age 32, going to be 33 in May. I mean, that one, I have more questions about what teams are offering him that kind of deal. I'm not as opposed to the DP center back thing as some people are, because I do think that if you have built your team correctly, you can make that work. And I do think elite center backs in MLS are valuable because of how elite the attacking talent is, and like having something to help solidify your defense against that type of thing is important. But Walker is... he struggled with injuries this year and concussion stuff. He's 32, about to be 33.
He cut off his hair. That's a no for me.
Like, you see, and his defensive stats have gone downhill since then. He's still an elite set piece player, just an absolute weapon on set pieces. But it's like, can you that seems like a luxury at a DP deal, right? To have just a really awesome set piece defender who is okay defending.
Yep.
Right? Like I don't know that I see that either. And it also, like, these players are all on the wrong side of 30 and seem sort of antithetical to the direction that Sporting is going.
We hope.
We hope. I mean, I do think that some level of, I don't want to call it old age and treachery, but certainly veteran capability is probably a little bit needed in the soccer room.
Sure.
But it doesn't mean that you go sign an almost 33-year-old center back to a massive contract.
Right. That's the thing, right? It's the age and the contract, and not great. So I would say that I totally agree with you that we should maybe look the other way. It's very tempting, right? And maybe if he was,
given how bad this team has been in central defense for so long,
right? No, so Sporting needs to be looking at what Nashville did when they got him from LAFC, right? They need to be targeting a player 3 to 5 years younger than he is right now, a player who's on the upswing or entering into the prime of their career, because because that's just where Sporting is in a squad building sense at this moment in time. There's no reason for the team to invest in players who are over 30, unless Leo Messi or Thomas Muller drop into your lap, right? Right. Unless you're paying for those kinds of insanely talented players, it's a wiser move to focus on youth, focus on development, and build your squad out.
Yeah, and I just don't think there's any of those kinds of defenders coming out in this offseason that are 28, 29 and at the top level of their skills, right? Like Jackson Reagan's under contract to 2027. Like that's the first one that came to mind. Like domestic center back that I'd be willing to give a DP 100%. Deal to.
Yeah, that's the that's the kind of person, right? Like absolutely.
Right.
And now that Cashfers are a thing, right? I mean that nothing's off the table in that respect, but that's the kind of, if you're going to spring that kind of money, that's the kind
Seattle
of
would ask for $20 million.
Sure, they would, and they should, right? I mean it's the smart way to do it. So
right. Well, and Yeimar is getting old on their side too. Reagan is the center of their defense. He's not going anywhere.
Yep.
Now, if the transfer offers start coming in and the contract offers of $2 million, $3 million a year start coming in for Jackson Reagan, he's gonna be like, hey Seattle, you need to
bump it up a little bit.
My contract. Yeah. This $650,000 these are rookie numbers. You need to pump those numbers up. But yeah, I think, and I just brought up Jackson Reagan because it was the first name that came to my mind of like someone that was of that profile, right? Where it would make sense for you to give a DP contract to.
Still not good enough in the hair department, in my opinion. So pass.
Well, he's basically got a shaved head, right?
I know. We've got one of those. We don't need another one.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know, like who's got a good hairdo like that's a center back, domestic center back that would make sense.
I don't know. I mean, I'll have to do some research. I don't know off the top
Justin
of my head.
Hawk's got a decent head of hair, although he had his falling out with David Lee.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's
probably not going to happen.
Probably not. No.
So we need to bring it. My wife still wears her T-shirt with the different sporting hairstyles. You know, you had like Benny. And I don't know, a couple other players.
Does it have Benny with the mullet and the mustache?
Right. Yeah. And it was just like the outline of their faces.
He only did it that 1 year when we had the white Argyle shirt.
That's the kind of thing you only do once. I mean, really, that's to heighten the impact of it, you can't really go to that well too many times.
Yeah, he even had like the mullet with he had it like shaved on the side with some lines in it and stuff. Like he had like a 96 in there at one point. Like he did a bunch of shit with that hair that year.
You're really making me miss Benny right now. So
he's my favorite player.
Love it.
I have a signed jersey of his in my house.
Love it.
Like that's my guy. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I as much as I love Raj, and I do love Raj, he's like 1B, but Benny's my dude. Yeah. Like he's my favorite sporting player. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of how this goes and how Lee goes about utilizing the intra-league mechanisms for acquisition, because they're going to have to do a lot of those. Because, as we noted several times, there's only 8 international slots.
Yeah.
So they have too many people to sign to make them all international players. So there are going to be some interesting moves. I'll be interested to see what they are. And one of them in the league, out of the league, or whatever, has to be a significant center back.
Yep.
Period. So we'll have to see how that goes. What do we got to look forward to this weekend? U.S. men's national team plays Paraguay. We already said we don't care about that. International
weekends are the worst weekends. I will be doing yard work, winterizing, all that fun stuff. So I'm not looking forward to it, Drew.
Were you supposed to do that before everything froze? Like everything froze.
No. But that wasn't even a hard freeze, man. Come on, get with the program.
I had to bring all my plants in.
So I planted dahlias this year, which are fantastic. Highly recommend, but they don't overwinter here, so you got to dig up the tubers. So I'm gonna do that this weekend.
Oh man.
Yep.
Yeah, I have a plumeria tree that I propagated from a little stick, and now it is a giant ass tree that I have since taken clippings off of and turned into smaller trees as well. So they all hang out in pots outside, and you let them. Well, the thing is, you got to let them hit like one frost,
right?
And then you douse them with water and bring them inside, and then they go dormant. So
yeah.
it's kind of an interesting journey, because that the big one barely I inevitably break off a stem of it every time I bring it in the door because it just doesn't even fit. I'm at the point now where it's literally going to have to go away from tree status and turn into a bunch of small trees again because I can't get it in the house anymore.
It's okay. Immortality, man. It'll just live on forever and ever.
It will. I mean, like I said, I've already propagated like 4 stalks off of it into smaller trees. So, not. But anyway, that was my journey before the sub freezing temperature.
Well, that's what I'm gonna do this weekend. What are you gonna do this weekend, Drew?
I mean, I'll probably watch the U.S. men's national team.
I might catch it. I'm not gonna like bend over backwards to see it, but I will probably watch it. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other soccer. The U.S. youth team plays on Friday morning at 9:45.
Yeah.
There's no Formula One this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are we supposed to do? I guess the Chiefs play on Sunday.
The Chiefs do play, so that'll be something at least.
Texas, Georgia, Saturday night. I'll be watching that.
Yeah, there you go.
You guys don't care about that.
I don't give a shit about that. I don't give a shit about any college football. I can't be bothered with it. So,
I mean, as a University of Texas alumnus, it is sort of like branded on your heart when you.
I 100% understand because I went to high school in Lawrence and I could not get away from KU basketball if I tried. So I understand.
Right. Yeah. So it's part of the deal. So I don't have a whole lot of hope for the Longhorns in this game, but it is happening on Saturday night. So I will certainly be watching that. And we'll just have maybe some amazing news will come out that will get us all excited again. I have no idea, but we'll have to see. And until that happens, and until next week, I'm Drew. He's Cody. We will talk to y'all then.
Bye-bye.